Hello everyone and very welcome again to the fourth episode of CAS in the Cockpit, season number 2. Very welcome to episode number 4, full VATSIM flight, Accra to Amsterdam. We are today in Ghana, in Africa, in the airport of Accra. So we are here with our Boeing 777 of KLM, and we will do a full VATSIM flight. We will fly online in the VATSIM network with real virtual pilots and ATC, or air traffic controllers. Everyone is real here, there are no bots or something like that. We are humans flying together in an online network. So very welcome to the full VATSIM flight, where I will teach you everything about how VATSIM works, how SimBrief works in a real airline flight, and how we fly our beloved Boeing 777-300ER with an airline. So, very welcome to our flight KLM 590 from Accra to Amsterdam Airport Schiphol in the Netherlands. Remember, this channel is for educational purposes only and aims to simulate aviation procedures as realistically as possible in MSFS 2020. It's powered by KLM procedures and the flight training school of MSFS 2020. Remember, the subtitles are available in English, Spanish, or any other language that you could speak. So let's begin. We are here in Accra, and here is our Boeing 777 of KLM waiting for us for the cold and dark and starting procedures. Today we have a 6 hours flight from Africa to Europe, and yeah, we can begin. So I'm gonna click here on the camera panel and zoom out a little bit here, and we're gonna walk straight ahead to our Boeing 777 of KLM Royal Dutch Airlines. As you can see here, this is the ground power unit, which gives us power on the ground. There's our pushback truck, a little bit in the wrong position, I would say, and here's our cargo. But let's ignore that and begin with the important procedures with the 777. So let's go inside the aircraft. It's pretty dark in here. Here's our cockpit again in cold and dark. I will sit here in the cockpit. I will reset the position here. So, here we are in our cold and dark cockpit. I'm gonna open my 777 checklist, my own checklist for starting the 777. I already opened it. So we're gonna check that everything is okay. We start checking parking brake is set, so we can turn on the battery, and then we will check everything in the hydraulic panel is in the off position, is checked. The wiper should be in the off position as well. The landing gear lever is down and the alternate flap selector is in the off position. So now we can check the bus tires are auto. Then we can turn on the external power. There it is. Oh, we are starting the aircraft already. You can see it's already bright here in the cockpit. It's not dark anymore. We checked only that our door is closed already, and We won't simulate the boarding, but in a few minutes is when we can call the passengers for boarding. Just imagine that the boarding is happening while we do all the procedures before the flight. So we're gonna wait until all the screens are on and the aircraft is powered up, and after that we can start the APU, or auxiliary power unit. Alright, as you can see, our FMCs are already on, and the PFD and our center screen are already on. Got the warning alert here. So everything is on right now. We have all the displays on, so we can turn on the APU. We put it in the on position and then start, and it goes back to on in 1 or 2 seconds. So we've got that fault. We can start like this way I'm showing, and then we have to wait until the APU is on as well, until the APU has started. We will receive that message in the display over here. I will recall with the cancel recall button. So as you can see here, we got the message APU running. That means that the APU is already running, so we can turn the ADIRU to the on position here. You can see ADIRU on, and now is when we have to wait for the ADIRU alignment. While that is in progress, we check here, as you can see, engine page, oil quantity 25 on the left, 26 on the right. That's perfect. We click at this button here for statistic. The oxygen crew press 1850, DCAS message accepted, and the quantity and press are almost the same in the hydraulic, so that's checked. And now we can click in stat again and turn on the display here. And what we're gonna do now is, for example, in the first officer we click FS action and doors, that for controlling all the doors in the aircraft, and here we click in our FMC already. We check 777-300.2, that means extended range variant, NG90-115BL for the engines. We go to POS init or initialization page, we click here, and we can check that the time to align is 0 seconds right now, so the ADIRU is ready for the alignment. So before doing that, we're gonna check all the messages here and check that all the messages are expected. Nav ADIRU inertial is expected. We didn't align the ADIRU at this moment. Hydraulic press systems left, center and right is also expected. We have all the hydraulic panel in the off position. That's okay. The engines are shut down, of course. The engine 1 and 2 are cut off. FMC message, enter inertial position. We can clear that message because we know what we have to do. In the next step, landing altitude is expected. That's not a problem. ILEC, IFE seats and cabin utilities should be on. We can check here. Both are off, so we can turn both on. Now the messages are gone. Brake source is also expected, so don't worry. The emergency lights, that message is also expected. As you can see, the emergency lights are off. We have not armed those lights already. The doors is expected because, as we can check here, door management, we have some doors that are not closed yet, so that message is also expected. Then window heat, that message is not expected at this moment. We can check the window heat and it's off, so we can turn the 4 buttons to the on position here. Window heat is now on, so the message is gone. And the fuel press, engine left and right is also expected. We have 9 messages at this moment. We can recall again and check that all the 9 messages still there. Now we can cancel with that button, and in case a new message appears here, we can look for that message. Now we have ADIRU align mode because we didn't align it yet. APU is running and the doors are manual. So now we can begin with the oxygen test and put the seat of the first officer already ready for departure. And now we can go to the oxygen mask and press here for the test. It's okay. And in our seat, for the captain as well, we check our oxygen mask here. We have enough oxygen flowing in the aircraft. So right now we are done with the cold and dark and startup procedures. So we do the pre-flight checklist. We click here, checklist, pre-flight checklist, oxygen, we tested it, 100% checked. Flight instruments, heading, altimeter are checked. The parking brake is set and the fuel control switches are cut off. So we can say now pre-flight checklist completed, normal. We turn the screen off with the checklist button. And now, as I taught you in the last videos, if we click here in Boeing 777, we can bring our flight tablet here near to the FMC. And now we will go to the electronic flight bag app and we will request our data from SimBrief. Our last flight plan, I planned for the video, KLM 590. The alternate is Echo Hotel. The registration, Papa Hotel Bravo Victor Foxtrot. Boeing 777, Accra to Amsterdam, costing X50. Everything is okay. So now what we're gonna do is to align the ADIRU. We copy the GPS position, we click here, we copy the position, and now when I click in this button I will copy to the inertial position, and right now the ADIRU is aligned. So we can click to, we can go to the route page and we will request from the SimBrief data, route request, SimBrief route, Accra to Amsterdam, set payload, set block fuel, and select route. Route is in the request process. And while that is in progress, we can look for the altimeter. I'll expect in hectopascal 1012 would be fine for Accra. The route uplink is ready. We can click load, and now we are loading our route in the aircraft systems. And after it's completely loaded, we will clear all the messages that will appear here. Right, we can clear that 3 messages. We will do that later. And we click activate and execute. And now the route is loaded. We will click on that page over here, that paper for the OFP, and we go to routing, route ID, and here's our route for today from Accra to Amsterdam, our departure and our arrival as well, and all the waypoints. So we will click in departure, and here we have to select already our departure here in Accra. So we have to do our IFR clearance with the air traffic controller. Unfortunately, we don't have ATC right now in Accra. Unfortunately, we're alone in the airport, no autopilots or ATC, so we cannot do the IFR clearance with the air traffic controllers. But that's how we normally would do that. So we can say Accra ground or Kotoga ground. Here KLM 590 in our parking position, we request the IFR clearance to Amsterdam. Or we can say the code for the airport, Echo Hotel Alpha Mike, that's Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. And the ATC can give us some information for the clearance. Can say KLM 590, you are cleared to Amsterdam. And the ATC then gives us our departure, for example, runway 03 or runway 21, and your seat, for example, Dirk 1 Delta, Eric 1 Delta, Kimo 1 Charlie, etc. Then the frequency we have to monitor for the tower or for departure, and also our squawk code here. So we will do that now. In our case, we can do our own clearance as filed because we don't have ATC. So we briefed for runway 03. You can see here Delta Golf Alpha Alpha 03. That's Accra runway 03. So we can click 03. And our departure says after runway 03 direct to Litex. So we can extend the range here. And as you can see here, Litex is over there. So we will fly a runway heading manually, and we will not select any of these seats because in the flight plan it says runway 03 direct Litex, so we can execute it without any seat. So it's executed. It's already done here for the departure runway 03. Now we click in index. Here is Echo Hotel Alpha Mike Amsterdam. We click in the arrival. We briefed 18 right for the runway, so we click ILS runway 18 right. The arrival is DNUT 3 Alpha. Here we are. Here we have DNUT 3 Alpha. And our transition could be Sugol, River, Debru, or Otip. Sugol is not a good idea because we are arriving from the south, and Sugol is like to the west of Amsterdam, I think. I did not fly in Amsterdam for like 3 months, guys. I am flying to Schiphol Airport like for the first time in 3 months, so I forgot almost everything about the arrivals and departures, seats and transitions. Schugal, like I said, I think it's to the west, so that's not possible. Or it could be possible if we want to do all around the Schiphol Airport. I mean, flying from the south and all around for the runway 18 right, arriving from the north. So around Schiphol Airport, I will try with Schugal 1 Delta because it's 03 Alpha. This is how we can check that when we're not sure about the arrival. What I normally do is I click here on the home button, full screen, zoom out, and I click in lock location unlocked and go to our destination here in Europe, the Netherlands. And here we can check our arrival. So we're flying DNUT. We will try Schugal 1 Delta. So let's see what happens. I think it's like Schugal should be like over here. Yeah, it's over here, as you can see. So we're flying over Belgium, and then when we reach the Netherlands, we fly to Rotterdam. Then we can fly, for example, from the discontinuity direct to Nithom to avoid Schugal, because that's a lot to the west. And we will try as well Schugal. Waiting for all the arrival to be completed, and that's not good, I would say. So what we're gonna do is I will set Schugal 1 Delta for the default arrival, and then I will check the normal arrival in the real live flight, and we will try to simulate that arrival. So we will continue with Schugal 1 Delta as default. After arrival is set, we click route and route copy, so we can have a copy of our flight plan in case of deleted data or something like that. Then we can go to legs, route data, and load the wind data for our waypoints. After that we execute, the winds are in, FMC communication page, and we can uplink and load the forecast. It's loaded, so I click initialization page, perf init, I accept, I insert 30 in the center of gravity, check that the cost index is 50, our cruise altitude is flight level 350, I click on the zero fuel weight 458.9er, I click on it again. So the gross weight is 577.1, and your fuel weight 458.9er. The reserves are 11.8. So after that, we can leave it on the route page number 2, direct to Litex, and then all our route to Amsterdam. And we can start with our setup of the flight deck. So we will begin with the overhead panel, and then with the autopilot and all that stuff over here. So in the overhead panel, we check that the ADIRO is on and aligned, the thrust asim comp is in auto, the battery in the APU as well as the external power are on, as well as cabin utilities, pass seats, etc. Everything has to be on. The bus tie switches auto. The camera lights, in this case as needed, I will turn the lights on because it's night here in Accra. Then here the voice recorder goes to on. Then the emergency lights, we arm the lights and guard it. We guard the switch. Then we check emergency lights, armed and guarded. Window heat on, hydraulic everything off, with exception of engine left and right, so it should be on. No smoking auto, because we know that nowadays one cannot smoke on board, so no smoking. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's in the on, auto, or off position, because we can. The passengers cannot smoke on board, and the crew as well. So it's forbidden. So it doesn't matter the position of the no smoking switch. We can leave it in the auto position. And the seatbelt signs to on, of course, because the passengers should be seated and fasten the seatbelt. So seatbelt signs on. We can put no smoking on as well, so the passengers know that they can't smoke on board. If we go to the passenger seats, just for demonstration, we can see here that both signs are on. As you can see, fasten your seatbelt, no smoking. So that's basically the idea of the switches. So after that, move on over here. The cargo fire should be off. We can do the fire test, as you can see here. Engine mode, EEG mode, norm for both sides. The start switches in the norm position as well. Auto start on, nozzle off. Fuel pumps off. The anti-ice goes to auto, wing and engines. And as you can see, it's dark outside, so we're gonna turn on nav lights and logo lights. And in LTS we are gonna put it in the dim position because it's dark outside. It's night, so dim. Then we can check the packs are auto and the bleeder are auto as well. And of course that we can pressurize here with the pressurization panel. And we checked, of course, that the wipers are off. After that, we are done with the overhead panel. Then we can go to the autopilot panel. So the first thing we have to do, we turn the VORs on. VOR left, VOR right. So we can check here, VOR left, VOR right. In this case, Accra. As well for the okay. As well for the first officer, we turn VOR left on and VOR right on. So we can check here, VOR left, VOR right. After the VORs are on, we turn on the flight director. For the captain and for the first officer, we switch here from auto to 1000 for the altitude selector. We arm the auto throttle, left and right, armed. We check autopilot disengage. We check autopilot disengage is up. Landing gear down. That was checked before powering up the aircraft. And then we can select the door indicator for the slides here in the captain screen and the captain navigation display. So you know how we do it. We click here left display, we click door, it's already shown. We click again center, so any button we press will be shown here in this display, in the center display. So we have already the door indicators for the captain navigation display. Now we can put the flight tablet over here. We select the auto brake, RTO, rejected takeoff, and then the tablet here again for the takeoff performance calculation. So we go to init ref for the takeoff reference, and we can do the takeoff performance calculation. We go to performance tool, we click our runway. In this case we can see Accra Kotoka International Airport, runway ID 03, it's dry, runway length 11,700 feet, elevation 177 feet, runway heading 24, I don't know why, yeah, 0324. That's for the airport information. Then aircraft, we click import from aircraft. We are looking for the optimum flap configuration and rating, and we import the weather as well. As you can see here, OAT is 24. The wind 5 knots only from 270, and the QNH we have to put it in inches, so we change from hectopascal to inches. And as I knew or guessed, 29.88 is normal for Accra at this moment, so we can hit calculate. We have for the power 89%, so we go to thrust limit, click takeoff 2, climb 2. We're using 93% of the power. We can click init ref again, and now we set flaps 5 is the configuration. We click 5, flaps 5, and we can check with 93% of power our takeoff speeds. So V1 163, this case 160, so we click 163 for the decision speed, V1. V rotate is 165 knots, 165 for V rotate, and V2 168 knots for V2. Then our center of gravity is 30.08, so we click 30.08, insert it in center of gravity, and we check that the trim is correct. So trim 4.75, trim 4.75, we can clear. Takeoff ref completed. Put the flight tablet over here. And then we will squawk 2000 because we don't have ATC, so we can squawk default 2000. And the frequencies, the frequency is important because we have to communicate in case we meet other pilots in the air or on ground. So we will we will monitor Unicom. The Unicom frequency is 122.8. We monitor 1228. VHF left is on. We will put for the first officer as well 1228. So we are now on frequency 122.8, where all the pilots can communicate when no ATC is available. After that, we can put the autopilot data. Initial climb clearance, we will begin with 6000. The runway heading was runway 03, so we'll put 030, runway 03. VR is 165, so we click we set 165 knots. LNAV, VNAV are on. Auto brake RTO, so the autopilot is ready. Now we can go to the ground operations, and we can close the doors, so we can click here close all. And then what I will do, we cannot close because of the ground service vehicles, so we will release all the vehicles, the stairs or cargo vehicles, and now we can close all the doors. As you can see, all the doors for passengers are closed and the cargo doors are closing. Alright, now everything is closed, so we can say cabin crew, arm the slides. So the cabin crew should arm the slides. We can click here, easier arm all, and now we can check that all the doors are armed. Then we go to ground connections, we release the chocks, we remove the chocks, we release ground power, remove chocks, and now we put here KLM 590. Alright, sorry for that, guys. As I said, we let the tablet in the OFP KLM 590 with information of the flight plan, and then we check doors are armed. We can click cabin interphone for the menu. Cabin interphone is the default pre-selection for the pilots normally. And then we can turn on our hydraulic panel. We turn on the right elec first. Fault message is gone, so we can turn all the hydraulic panel right now. Alright, hydraulic is on, fuel pumps on as well. Left pumps 1, 2, right pumps 1 and 2. Now for the two center fuel pumps, we will turn those on only if we get the message fuel in center in this display over here. If after turning these four fuel pumps on, you see a message that says fuel in center here, you should turn the center fuel pumps on. So no messages here, center pumps remain off. Now we can set our trim, 4.75, we will set 4.75. There it is, 475 trim. We are ready for departure, so beacon on. We advise that we will start with the engine start. And the last step, we do the before start checklist. We click checklist, remember center display, checklist, before start checklist. Flight deck door, closed and locked. Passenger signs are on. MCP 165.030.6000 is checked. Takeoff speeds V1 163, VR 165, V2 168, checked, CDO pre-flight completed. Trim 4.75, 0, 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed, beacon on, before start checklist completed. So the doors are auto. We go to nav and MFD for the nav display again. And as you can see here, we are facing to the south, and we have to taxi via the only taxiway here for runway 03, so we don't need pushback at all. We can begin with our engine start. So it's very simple. We will switch the left start to the start, and then we will put fuel. That's it. So left engine, start, left engine, and we put fuel control left on. So right now we are starting the left engine. Before we take off here in Accra, guys, I will explain you something. Right now, as I said before, there are no ATCs in Africa, in the whole Africa. We are alone in Ghana. There are only a few planes flying over Africa at this moment, so there are no ATCs at all. We are alone. In case an ATC was online in Africa or in Europe when arriving in the Netherlands, I will of course record it and show you how the communications work in VATSIM, in the VATSIM network. And if I meet another pilot and I have to communicate with him, of course I will record that as well and show you how we pilots communicate to each other while flying on VATSIM. So left engine has started, is stable. Now we can start right engine. So right engine, start, fuel control right on, starting right engine. As you can see here, the right engine is starting. So the left engine has already started, is already stable. We have to wait for the right engine to be stable, and then we can turn off the APU and do the taxi procedure, before taxi procedures, sorry. So right now we did already the takeoff rev and the doors, so we can hit here legs page for our waypoints and progress page. Well, here before menu, FMC, and progress page. Here we have KLM 590 progress. It's the progress of our flight here. So that's the default settings I normally do in the FMCs in the 777. So as you can see, the right engine has already started. Both engines are running and both engines are stable. So what we can do now is turn off the APU. So you can see here, APU off. We turned off the APU and we can see here in the messages, APU cool down. So the APU is going off. Now the lights, we activate runway turn off lights plus taxi lights because we're ready for taxi. And we can do, after engine start, the flight controls. We can click here, flight controls, left, right, down, up, rudder pedals, left full, right full, spoilers, speed brakes checked, flight controls are checked. Now we can do before taxi checklist. NTIs, wing auto, engine auto, recalls checked, auto brake, RTO, flight controls checked, ground equipment clear, before taxi checklist completed. Now we set flaps 5, flaps 5, okay, the flaps are in the 5 configuration, APU cool down, APU is already full off, auto brake, RTO, the lights are on. We can begin with the taxi procedures. So parking brake, released, left is clear, right is clear, we are ready for taxi. So we will join this taxiway all the way to runway 03 to holding point. So we put a little bit of power here. the right engine, so we assist the turn to the left, goes to idle again, and we are rolling already. We'll start turning to the left here. Remember, with our rudder pedals we turn to the left or right on the ground, and then we will roll and join the taxiway. Remember, try not to exceed 10 knots for the taxi. Maximum 15 knots should be enough while taxiing. We are expecting guys to arrive in Amsterdam in the Netherlands at 6 a.m. with 45 minutes or 6 a.m. with 20 minutes or something like that. I have to check it again. So right now we turn to the right and we already joined the taxiway. Then we follow all the path to the holding point before takeoff. We can apply a little bit more power here to taxi a little bit faster. To idle again, no more power. And we are around 11 knots, 12 knots, which is normal for taxi. So like I said, we are expecting arrival in Amsterdam at 6 a.m. with 20 minutes. So we will arrive very early compared to the other long-haul flights. The flight with service in Accra, Dubai and Seoul in South Korea, I think, are the 3 KLM long-haul flights that arrive very early in the morning in Amsterdam. So we received here cabin ready, so the cabin is ready for departure. Then we announce, cabin crew, take your seats. So everybody is prepared for takeoff. So take your seats is announced, cabin crew is seated, cabin is ready. We can depart from Accra to Amsterdam. We do the before takeoff checklist. Before takeoff, flaps 5. Before takeoff checklist completed. So we turn on the strobe light and the landing lights. We can click here landing and turn on the 3 landing lights at the same time. After that we are ready for takeoff. So we will line up runway 03. Here we are in Alpha, taxiway Alpha, and we line up runway 03. We will join this turn over here and gain a little bit of runway for the departure because we are flying long haul. Our aircraft is a heavy. Alright, we are lined up, runway 03. We have to apply power and depart from Accra. I will check the radar no traffic in front of us, so we can turn right now airport, weather as well here. We will here for the first officer terrain and airport. For the terrain, elevation and weather for us here. Now we release the parking brakes. Parking brakes are released. So we apply a little bit of power here, and then we apply toga. So takeoff. Stable. Toga. Thrust set. Chronometer started. $80 knots checked. Rotate. Positive rate, gear up. We do a left turn after runway heading direct to LETEX. We are flying manually, as you can see here. Now flaps 1, passing 2000, and we are following heading 005 direct to LETEX, 50 miles, 60 miles away, 10 degrees here, rate of climb, it's very good, thrust reduction already, and now flaps up. Flaps up. Now we can do after takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist, land gear up, and the flaps are up after takeoff checklist completed. We click here STD for standard altimeter, passing 4,000 feet. Autopilot. We'll climb flight level 130. We synchronize our heading 005. We can stop the chronometer. Click 130. So as we are alone, we will turn the logo off, the camera lights off. 004, we're heading. And we departed from Accra. We are on our way to Amsterdam. So 7,000, after 10,000 we can continue with the procedures after 10,000 feet here. Till we reach 10,000 you can already put your flight map here so you can see where you're flying over. We'll select this range for our flight plan, our flight map. So we are reaching 10,000 soon. Alright, 10,000 feet. No turbulence is expected, the weather is good. So no smoking goes auto, seatbelt signs auto. And we can turn off the taxi lights, runway turn off lights, landing lights off as well. With all the lights off, seatbelt sign and no smoking signs auto. After 10,000 feet procedure is completed, we can continue climbing normally till we reach our cruise altitude. So we will climb, as you can see, to flight level 350. That is 35,000 feet. So I will see you there when we reach our cruise altitude to explain you a little bit the cruise procedures. Alright guys, welcome again. As you can see, I already selected flight level 350, that's our cruise altitude. We are passing flight level 337, so we're 1,300 feet far from our goal, 350. We are finishing with our climb. So as you can see, we have 9 knots of wind coming from heading 068 from our right side. And then right now we are flying to Turut, as you can see here, 70 miles away from Turut. We expect the speed, our current speed, Mach 830. We have 829 right now. That's checked, and as well flight level 350. We are passing flight level 340. We have to climb 1,000 feet, and then we will reach 350 for our cruise. We are flying over Ghana at this moment. As you can see here, not much visibility because it's night here in Ghana, but at least we don't have a lot of clouds, so we can appreciate the ground here. We have some views of that lake and the ground. Alright, we are very close from our cruise flight level 350, it's already set. 35,000 feet. We are at 34,500 feet, about to reach the cruise altitude. So then we can check the overhead panel again, check that all the lights that we talked about, camera, landing and taxi, are off, that all the switches for the passenger signs, no smoking and seatbelts, are auto, if not if we don't have bad weather, if no turbulences are expected. The NTIs as well, the wing and engine in auto, and the strobe lights, beacon and navigation lights in the on position. And the packs left and right in the auto, hydraulic, auto and on, as well the 4 fuel pumps in our case on, the APU off, and the window heat on, emergency lights guarded, and the wipers off. So the overhead panel is checked, and as you can see here, we just reached our cruise altitude, flight level 350. So we switch from 1000 to auto and we click 35,000. So we will maintain with the autopilot flight level 350. We will not climb or descend, we will maintain all the flight level 350. And then for our speed, we are following as filed Mach 830. We are at 833. But if we want to increase our cruise speed a little bit, if we want to increase our cruise speed a little bit, like to Mach 850, for example, and we don't want to break the VNAV connection, we can go to the VNAV panel here in the FMC. As you can see here, economic speed is 129er, so we are flying that economic speed. We will change it if we want, for example, to increase it to Mach 850. We can digit 0.85, click in economic speed 850, execute. Mach 850 is set, the speed is increased, and the engines are working again for the speed for the new speed. Sorry, for the new speed we selected. The power of the engines is increased right now until we reach Mach 850. We can click now legs page again, and now we're ready for our cruise of 5 hours over all the African continent and Europe, Spain and France. So if I notice that I have to communicate with a pilot or an ATC is online, I will record again and I will show you how we talk with the ATCs and pilots in the VATSIM network. So we will let our Boeing 777 fly to Amsterdam and enjoy the cruise. So guys, here we are again. After 5 hours of flight, we are ready for our descent. We are expecting our landing in Amsterdam in 20 minutes. So as you can see here, we are 20 miles away from the top of descent, so we have to do the descent checklist. We press recall. Recall is checked, no notes. Auto brake, we select auto brake 2 in this case. Landing data, our VRF is 139 and the approach briefing is completed, so the descent checklist is completed. We didn't find ATCs or autopilots in all our way to Amsterdam, so we flew 5 hours completely alone, would I say. So it was a little bit a boring flight, a boring cruise, because all the procedures are important in a flight, but the cruise is the most boring part when we simulate flights without ATCs or autopilots. So right now we reached the top of descent, the speed is decreasing, so we can start. We switch here to 1000 and we start descending to flight level 240. We break the VNAV, we select the vertical speed 1000, flight level 240. We start descent. So we extend the range 20 miles, and as you can see we have to be at 240 at D0. So I will increase a little bit our descent rate, recognize our heading. So at the end, we have to be at 160. Let's continue with our descent and reduce our speed. A little bit. Alright, just passing 30,000, flight level 300. We are now descending the flight level 20s. We are 15 miles away from D0. We have to be at 250. Then at the end, at 160. So we have to descend a little bit faster, but we will reach that. For arrival. I just confirmed our landing runway is the same we filed in Accra, runway 18 right. We follow D0 arrival to 18 right. What I can see in the radar is that we are the next aircraft that will land in Amsterdam, because Schiphol is expecting 6 arrivals, and the next arrival is KLM 590. So we are arriving in 15 minutes, and we are the next arrival in Amsterdam. No other airplanes will arrive before us. The next arrival after us is Delta 133 in 45 minutes. So we're also alone here in Amsterdam. Would I say we have 2 departures, KLM 417 and Transavia 6181 departing at this moment. So yeah, it's not a busy morning in Amsterdam here in VATSIM today. So right now we reached Tinot. We will turn to the left via Yenzo. Alright, we expect flight level 170 at Yenzo, so we are good with our descent into Amsterdam. So you can see we have the route discontinuity after river. So if we put Sugol for the next waypoint, the route will join and will deliver us to Sugol. But I would say that we will put Nitom. We'll put Nitom as the next waypoint after river, like that. So we created the new arrival, easier arrival than via Sugol. And as we are landing alone here in Amsterdam, no other arrivals expected, we can custom our arrival like this one via river to runway 18 right. So we will fly via river at this moment, so we can avoid that turn. We'll put the flight tablet over here, and as you can see we have to be at flight level 100, the river. We are expecting flight level 100, also 10,000 feet after river, a little bit far away from river. So we will reduce our speed to 250. There we are. Now it's perfectly prepared for river flight level 100. Right, passing flight level 1900, 19,000. We will check the altimeter in Amsterdam, so we click performance tool. We go to landing dispatch and we select here runway 18 right, import the weather and calculate. We have our VREF, but we have with FAPS 20 157 and 155. Our VREF is exactly 139er, maybe 138 when arriving, but the altimeter, the QNH was important, is 3039er. And then here you can calculate. We got an error because of the weight, because I do not use this normally for the landings, but I want to check the QNH in Schiphol. That's 3039. So at Needham we expect 7,000. As you can see, we are clear for 7,000. Before Needham, even closer to river than Needham. And the speed we have to maintain 250. So 5,000. Increase our speed up a little bit here to 60 knots. And as you can see, the local time here in Amsterdam, 6 a.m. 27 minutes, as expected for arrival. We'll put it in bright because it's in the morning. We'll turn on the logo light as well. And then we will turn to the left via passing river or flying to Needham. We will turn to the left here this moment, heading 015. There we are. Alright guys, what we're gonna do is wait until we reach 5000 at near sea, this waypoint over here before the turn for the runway 18 right. So before near sea we'll be at 5000, and then we do a few speed reductions for arrival. So we're gonna wait a little bit until we reach Needham at 7000 or less, and then 5000 before near sea. Alright, the cabin crew is ready. So we'll begin with the approach procedures. So cabin ready, we announce cabin crew, take your seats. So the cabin crew is seated for arrival. I will click here standard and set the Schiphol altimeter was 1039. In hectopascal is 1029er. So 1029er is altimeter in Amsterdam. So at Needham we have to be at 7000 and speed 250. So approach checklist. Approach altimeters 1029er, both sides, approach checklist completed. Continue to 4000. Alright, we passed 10,000, so seat belts on, no smoking on, landing lights on, taxi lights on, well, runway turn off on and taxi on. Logo is on, signs are on, and camera lights on as well. So overhead panel is completed for arrival. And as you can see, the altimeter is already green, so we are clear for this altimeter in the approach. We are already at the descent altitude for this altimeter in Amsterdam. We will sit in the first officer's seat and look. As you can see, this should be Schiphol Airport already. Alright, we will turn to the right, passing Needham to Mersey. Alright, I have a new information in the radar. We have a 737 departing in Amsterdam and another Boeing 777 that filed a flight plan in Amsterdam will depart as well. So we're the arrival. We are the arrival in Schiphol at this moment, and only 2 departures. So, like I said, it's not busy today in the morning in Schiphol. So 2000, our last flight level for descent before activating approach mode. 2000 at Alpha Mike 621 over here. So 5000. We will reduce the speed 220 as indicated. 220 set. Right, we synchronize our heading here. So flying to Alpha Mike 607, then 608, and then for 2000 feet Alpha Mike 661. And after that we should be already in the glide slope and localizer for the approach 18 right. We'll continue. So right now, speed 220, flaps 1. Flaps 1. Synchronize our heading again. There we are. We armed the speed brakes already. So speed brake armed. Flaps 5. Speed 200. There it is, runway 18 right. Flaps 15. Flaps 15 set. Speed 180.
2500.
Synchronize heading 182. Oh, 181. There we are. So localizer established. Gear down. Gear going down. Flaps 20. Flaps 20. 622, speed 170. Right, 2000 feet. Speed 160. Go around altitude 6000. Flaps 30. Alright, light slope coming, activate approach. Speed 150. Alright, Foxtrot 7 is our gate. Received clearance, so we click Amsterdam Schiphol, Foxtrot 7. KLM Royal Dutch Airlines. Alright, our VRF is 138, so VRF plus 5. Speed 143 set. Heading 181, 6000. Check. Landing checklist. Speed brake. Armed. Gear. Down. Flaps 30. Landing checklist completed. Right. One thousand. Checked. Autopilot's coming off. Flying manual, landing. Cleared.
400.
Checked. Continue.
$100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brakes up. Reverse is normal. brake off. $60 knots. There's idle. Manual braking. Spoilers disarmed. $20 knots. Check. Vacating runway. We are vacating the runway and we'll taxi to our gate in today Foxtrot 7. So I will open our map here. So we are taxiing via Victor Sierra. Now flaps up. Flaps are going up, strobe off, camera lights off and landing lights off. We have a long taxi today to gate Foxtrot 7. So we're taxiing via Victor Sierra and then continue via Victor to Whiskey 5, then for crossing the other runway. So welcome to Amsterdam, guys. Local time exactly 6 a.m. 46 minutes. 7 a.m. we landed safely in Amsterdam, Schiphol Airport. Now we're taxiing to our gate. So after here Victor, we follow all the path to Whiskey 5 for crossing runway 36 or 18 center. We turn to the right here, cross the bridge and then to Whiskey 5. Right, we'll cross the bridge here. Alright, what we're gonna do is prepare the slides. So we click here, left display, door, center again, and here menu, FS action, doors. So the simulated cabin crew is ready for disarming the slides when arriving and entering the gate. So as you can see here, we are taxiing via Victor and then we cross via Whiskey 13 Whiskey 5 runway 18 center. Alright, I will check in the radar that no aircrafts are arriving in this runway. So, no traffic. We are clear to cross runway 18 center. Right's clear, left's clear, clear to cross. Alright, and after that we turn right. We do a right turn via Delta. We'll taxi via Delta to the terminals. Alright. So we turn here to the right via Delta. Alright, so you can see we are taxiing via Delta. Taxiway Delta is this one. Then we will turn to the left. We'll do a left turn and taxi all the way to gate Foxtrot 7. That's our gate today for parking. I don't know if I said that before, but we have one aircraft departing here in Amsterdam, Airport Schiphol. Alright, so here we turn to the left via Alpha. Normally when we fly to Amsterdam, when we arrive here in Schiphol Airport, we taxi to the gate via taxiway Alpha. When we arrived in runway 18 right, like today. So here we are, taxiway Alpha. Then we will taxi. We have to cross another bridge and then park here in Foxtrot 7, our gate. Alright, the other aircraft, the Boeing 737, that's departing, already completed the pushback and is ready to taxi. But I think that pilot will depart in the runway 24, so we won't see that aircraft today because we're parking almost there in the large gates, in this case Dock F, Foxtrot 7. So we're crossing the bridge now. So you can see there is the road. We're crossing the bridge here in the airport. So that should be gate Golf 9er. Yeah, that's Golf 9er. That means that our gate is over there, I think. Yeah, that's our gate. So I will start the APU already. Turn to on. Start, goes back to on. So we're starting already the APU. So that's our gate today. Yeah, Foxtrot 7. Okay, here we have Foxtrot 7. We follow that yellow line to the gate. Alright, There we are, so we can say now. Cabin crew, disarm slides. And the slides are disarmed. So taxi lights off. APU is running. Here we are arriving to gate Foxtrot 7. Alright, parking brake set, APU is running and the doors are manual. So engines off, seatbelts off. Cabin crew, the doors may be opened. Alright. Storm button. So we have bad jetway data. Was it? Let's see if we can connect it via the simulator ATC ground services. Alright, we can connect our jetway, unfortunately. So we'll have to use the stairs, I guess. I requested deboarding right now for the passengers. So we turn off the fuel pumps and the hydraulic panel as well. Asphalt, right, last one, beacon off. So that was it, guys. Welcome to Amsterdam. Welcome to Schiphol. The last thing we had to do were the parking procedures, the securing the aircraft procedures. So let's open the ground operations, ground connection, set chocks, ground power request, connecting. Ground power is connected. We turn the ground power on. And here we are in Schiphol Airport. After 6 hours we arrived in Europe. As you can see, here's our 777. So let's check the autopilot panel. So the VORs go off, the flight directors off, the auto throttle off. We select here 200 knots for the speed. That's the default configuration. Here we can select already the navigation display. We put heading 143 and 10,000 feet as default. Now we can click here both in the menu, squawk 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, menu as well. You can open the cockpit door here. And then what we can do is to look for the flaps up, speed brakes down, thrust levers in idle. We reset here the rudder And then we can look in the overhead panel. So the ADIRU goes off, the cabin utility and pass seats off, the camera lights off as well, the voice recorder goes to, well, auto, the emergency lights deguarded and off, window heat off, the start button off as well, all these lights to the off position, the NTIs to off, and the right and left back to off as well. After that we can turn off the APU because we are a little bit lazy for all the deboarding procedure. And while the APU is in its cool down, we can check outside. As you can see here, the baggage, we are loading the baggage here in these platforms for the passengers that are deboarding the aircraft. So I will put some details here. I will put cabin cleaning, some stairs here for decoration. As you can see, it's pretty nice that PMDG has these stairs models for the passengers. So after that we turn off the battery, and before turning off the external power that will put the aircraft in complete cold and dark mode, we will do the checklist, the electronic checklist. So shutdown, everything is checked, parking brake is set, and I will turn the radars. I forgot the radars here, airport, and here airport and the weather radar is off. After that, shutdown checklist completed, and then the last one, secure checklist, ADIRU off, emergency lights off, and packs off. Secure checklist completed. After that we can disconnect and power down our 777. And that concludes all the full VATSIM flight video. I hope you liked it, guys. And that concludes with our fourth and last episode of the season 2 of CAS in the Cockpit, the full VATSIM flight video. I hope you liked it, guys. Like this video and subscribe if you like what I am doing right now with the channel, and be excited for the third season and last one for this program, CAS in the Cockpit. I will release the third and last season in a few months with our 777 as well. So that concludes our second season with the giant aircraft, Boeing 777-300ER. Right now it's completely off. We powered down the aircraft, and the boarding, the deboarding is completed, and the cargo is completed as well. So that concludes our flight from Accra to Amsterdam. I will disconnect from the VATSIM network. I only have to disconnect the vPilot client. Right now I am out from the network, and we are again alone here in the simulator, ready for the disconnection. So thank you very much, guys. I hope you liked it, and don't forget that season 3 will be launched in a few months. I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Captain Wohlwend signs off. Thank you very much for being here in my flight from Accra to Amsterdam KLM 590. Bye bye.